And so let me swing into the rice thing, which I call the rice fiasco. The president determined that Liberia ought to feed itself, because Liberia historically did that. Did you know that during slavery time, that before Liberia was Liberia, the pre-Liberia, you know why they call that place Grain Coast? That's why they came and got rice. The Portuguese and all these people came and got rice right from Cape Mount. Rice. Liberians were shipping tons of rice. They were doing business with the Europeans long before 1821. Liberians are resilient and progressive people. Our people had dealings in coffee. We shipped coffee. And when the settlers came along the river banks there, St. Paul, Millsburg, White Plains there, we were producing sugar. In the 1870s, we were shipping sugar to Europe. It's in the book, it's in the history books. Camwood, piassava, Malagueta pepper. They were shipping it. So the president looked into that and said, Liberians can we can feed ourselves. So we had two problems facing Liberia in 1980. One was, how do we get away from, because we have shifted from producers to consumers. Firestone, Bomb Mine, Lamco, all these. So rice producers now became consumers of rice. Firestone started off first by supplying rice for their workers. And the rice was not imported from America. The rice was collected from the interior of Liberia, from Bon County, Lofa County. The Firestone trucks used to go there, and people brought their hampers of rice and sold it. Paramount chiefs were expected to produce rice for the Firestone plantation, and they did. And of course, the consumers' bellies got bigger, and so Firestone had to import rice. Pusawa, you heard about Pusawa rice? Where the ration in Firestone was 30 cups of rice. Pusawa is 30 in the Pele language, 30 cups. So when you bring your bag, the man will ask you how many, you say Pusawa. That's how we got the name Pusawa. It's not the quality of rice or grade of rice, it's just naming how many cups of rice each portion will get. So what we did then on this rice thing, rice bag was $22 in Monrovia. So the question was whether we should import rice and subsidize it. Government should subsidize imported rice in order to keep the price at $22 or $30. That was part of the debate that was going on in cabinet. Should we rely on imported rice? That was one side of the argument. The other side of the argument, supported by the Ministry of Agriculture, Florence Chinaway as Minister of Agriculture, who was very much in favor of subsidizing the Liberian farmers so that they could produce their own rice. So we made a study. What will it cost for a 100-pound bag if produced in Liberia by Liberians? We brought in Firestone. By this time, Firestone was experimenting with their swamp rice. They had their bag of rice there, how much it would cost. Labor intensive, of course, rice production is. We had people from Beijing. When you go into Cape Mount, there's a big area that was cleared. They were going to produce rice there locally. And so, should government get away from subsidizing imported rice and subsidize the Liberian farmers? So we sent the Minister of Commerce and Transportation, Mr. John Sherman, to all of the rice-producing countries around the world. Well, around the world, that's stretching it too far. but from the most rice-producing countries. There's a place called Stuttgart in Arkansas, and by the way, Arkansas is the #1 rice-producing state in America. Texas, Louisiana, those are next, but Arkansas, we had rice and a table long like from here over yonder. Mr. Sherman and the ministry brought rice samples from these countries, different grades, broken rice, fine rice, all sorts. Label, how much it costs in that country, how much it costs in China, how much it costs in Taiwan, how much it costs in Arkansas, how much it costs to import the rice. There were some people who government had given the license to import rice. So you can see the contention here. The rice importers, with their license to import rice to make profit, wanted to keep the rice imported. Firestone, Wading rice people, Liberian farmers, small or big, wanted to do Liberian rice. We have survived on Liberian rice for a long time. I remember when rice cup, salmon cup, they used to call it salmon cup, was 2 cents. I saw it during 1941, during the war. During the war, where did food come from? From the Liberian farms. So Mr. Tolbert felt that we could go back to producing rice. So he said, by year so-and-so, Liberia should feed themselves. Before the cabinet would determine whether to increase the price of rice or subsidize Liberian farmers or subsidize the importation of rice. Before we could make the decision, it leaked out that rice price was going up and Mr. Tolbert was going to benefit from it. I don't know if Mr. Tolbert having a rice farm. I flew over that. I had my own airplane, church airplane, not government plane. And I didn't see no big rice farms in Bentall or in Balatoi, where he had his rubber farm. I saw rubber plantations. But I knew people who were engaged in rice, James Phillips or Thomas Phillips, engaged in rice production. Private people were engaging in rice production. Between River Cess and Sasstown, the Kavala River Basin, there was a Liberian group were interested in mechanized rice production in that area, down there. Very flat land, just like Arkansas, that could have done that. So the thing leaked out, and so then word around to the agitators and said Tolbert's going to benefit from rice production, and therefore Tolbert carrying rice price up and so on. And so the demonstration was planned. The planned demonstration occurred on a Saturday, and you all got the dates and all of that because you commissioners got people doing research and studies and all of that. And you are sharp, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to give you sharp. You got those sharp questions you're producing here. Very sharp, so I expect you to shoot me down when I get through. But the demonstration got started. It started in New Crew Town. And gradually it was coming.